ba 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 banana. Ba 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 banana. Oh, ba 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 banana. Ba 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 banana. Ba ba banana. とかりのポタトリカにマロマニカのキカババババナナ。
Hi boys and girls, hope you're all still well and you've had another really lovely week. Now this week it's the turn of the girls again, and this week we're going to be talking about a girl from the Bible named Hannah. Okay, but before we do that we have to decide what song we're going to sing this week, and last week it was Milo's turn, so this week it's Ollie's turn. So let's see what song Ollie's going to choose for us. Okay, so it's Ollie's turn to choose. He can choose either This Little Light of Mine or Our God is a Great Big God. I wonder which one he's going to choose. Let's see, Ollie. Oh, he's gone for Our God is a Great Big God. Let's get ready to dance.
Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He is higher than a skyscraper, and He's deeper than a submarine. He is wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And He's known me and He's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He's higher than a skyscraper and deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And He's known me and He's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. 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 And He holds us in His hands.
Now, before we do our story, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever really, really, really wanted something and you just can't have it? Maybe it's a new toy, or maybe it's a bag of sweets. Have you ever just really, really, really wanted something and you just can't have it? Well, that's what this story is about. So let's get ready and listen to the story of Hannah. There once was a woman named Hannah. But Hannah was really, really sad because she had no children. And more than anything in the whole world, Hannah wanted a baby son of her own. One day, Hannah and her husband went to the temple. While she was there, Hannah prayed to God and made him a promise. Hannah promised God if she had a son, she would give him to the Lord and have him raised in the temple. As Hannah was praying, there was a man named Eli, who was a priest, who was sitting nearby and saw her. While Hannah was praying, she was praying to herself. Her lips were moving, but Eli couldn't hear her say anything. Eli realised that Hannah was being very honest and truthful with God, and he said to her, "Go in peace, and may God answer your prayer." Hannah went home and waited, and soon after she was blessed with a beautiful baby boy. Hannah called him Samuel. Hannah remembered her promise, and when Samuel was old enough, she went back to the place where she had prayed and said to Eli the priest, "Do you remember me? I am the woman that cried and prayed for this child, and God answered my prayer. Now I give him to the Lord, and I will leave him with you to learn and work with you." Well done, boys and girls. I hope you all enjoyed that story of Hannah. Now, this week, we're going to do something a wee bit different. So, you've got your colouring sheet that was emailed out to mummies and daddies this week. So, we've got our colouring sheet today as well. But this week, I thought we'd do a quiz. So, I hope you were listening to the story of Hannah, because it's time to do a quiz. Okay, boys and girls, question 1. What did Hannah want more than anything? Can you remember from the story? If you said a son, well done, you were right. Hannah wanted a son more than anything. And before Hannah got her son, she was really, really upset and she cried a lot. And that's okay to cry. And sometimes we might feel like crying if we don't get our own way sometimes. But there are better ways of dealing with it, isn't there? Let's see what the next question is. Okay, question 2. What did Hannah do to ask for a son? Can you remember from the story? What did Hannah do to ask for a son? She prayed. Do you remember? She went to the temple and she prayed. And do you know, we can pray too as well, boys and girls. If we want something, we can always pray to God. He might not always give us what we want, but he's always listening. So instead of crying if we want something that we can't have, we can just close our eyes and pray to God, and he's listening to us. Okay? Right, ready for question 3? Okay, boys and girls, question 3. Who was in the temple with Hannah and heard her pray? Who else was in the temple? It was Eli. Okay, and do you know when Eli saw Hannah praying in the temple, he saw her lips move, but he didn't hear anything coming out of her mouth. And you know, sometimes we can pray like that too. Sometimes we don't have to speak out loud to pray to God. Sometimes we can just pray inside our head, can't we? Okay, get ready for question 4. Okay, boys and girls, question 4. Are you ready? So when Hannah went home after praying in the temple, did God give her a son straight away? Or did she still have to wait a while? Can you remember? She still had to wait a while, didn't she? And I'm sure that maybe Hannah thought that God wasn't listening to her. But God was listening to her, wasn't he? Because sometimes God doesn't answer our prayers straight away. Sometimes we have to wait, but that's okay because God knows what's best for us and he's always listening. Okay, get ready for question 5. Okay, question 5. What did Hannah name her son? Can you remember? What did Hannah call her son after he was born? She called him Samuel. And Samuel means because I asked the Lord for him. Well done. Okay, question 6. Okay, boys and girls, question 6. We're nearly at the end. I'm sure you've all got them all right because you're all superstars. Okay, so question 6 is, what did Hannah promise the Lord if she had a son? Now that's quite a tricky one. Can you remember from the story, what did Hannah promise the Lord if she had a son? Can you remember? She promised to give him to the Lord and have him raised in the temple. Do you remember? Well done if you got that one right, because that was quite a tricky one. Okay, we've got 2 more questions left. So question 7 coming up now. Okay, question 7, boys and girls, we're nearly at the end. Did Hannah keep her promise to God? Can you remember? Did she keep her promise to God? She did. She absolutely did. She kept her promise to God. And when Samuel was old enough, she brought Samuel back to the temple so that Eli, the priest, could raise him and teach him all about God. Well done. Ready for our last question? Okay, boys and girls, last question. You've done really, really well. Our last question is, does God always listen to all our prayers? Does he always listen to all our prayers? If you said yes, you're right. Well done. God is always listening to all of us, and he listens every single time that we pray. He might not give us exactly what we've prayed for right now, but he knows what's best for us, and he is always listening. Well done, boys and girls. I hope you really enjoyed that quiz, and I am sure lots of you got full marks, got 8 out of 8. So well done for listening. That was fantastic. And if you want to do your colouring sheet now, you can, or you can do it later, whenever suits you. Okay, so we're going to get ready for our prayer now. Okay, boys and girls, we're nearly finished. We're just going to finish off our lesson with a prayer. Okay, and this week our prayer is being done by Mila McFarland. And boys and girls, don't forget, if you would like to come onto the video and do a prayer too, just let your mummies and daddies know and they can send me a message and we can get you onto the video to do a prayer too. So Mila this week is going to pray for all the boys and girls who are missing seeing their friends in school. Okay, so over to you, Mila.
God, please look after all the boys and girls who miss their friends. And thank you for our main teachers. Amen.
Thank you very much for that lovely prayer, Mila. That was brilliant. Now, boys and girls, it's time for me to go again. We are all done for another week. But don't forget that next week we're going back to the boys. So next week we're going to be talking about a boy from the Bible. I hope you all have a lovely weekend and a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye.